Normally after a G-Day, Georgia football scrimmage, there isn't a whole lot to break down that's meaningful. You look at a stat sheet, what does it really mean? What does it tell you? Coaches are subbing players in and out. Even in this game today, Carson Beck and Brock Vandegrift switched teams at halftime. You can't really do that in a real football game. But this G-Day was a little different. It was pretty meaningful. There were some things in the pregame, some things to start the game, and some news before the game that got this one started in an untraditional way. Let's start with some of the news concerning Georgia's football players. The biggest news of the day, even after G-Day, at least in my opinion, is Bear Alexander, the talented former Georgia defensive lineman. As long as we're waiting on Alexander to make his transfer portal decision official, he entered the portal. And I don't expect Alexander to come back. This isn't likely to be a situation like Amarius Mims last year where you enter the portal and you test the waters and you come back. I don't think that's the case here. Doesn't seem like there's a lot of love lost between Alexander and his Georgia teammates. It's just the timing that was pretty surprising. Now, I spoke to some Georgia players after the game, and the transfer portal is just a part of college football these days. It's not too rare to see a teammate hit the portal. And even after seeing this teammate, Bear Alexander, go through an entire spring of practice, hitting the portal on the day of Georgia's spring scrimmage wasn't too shocking to Brock Bowers and Arian Smith. Those are the two players I asked about it anyway. So we'll see what happens there. Georgia has a deep defensive line group, just about as deep as any position group. That's what Kirby Smart's done here with the Dawgs. It's not just one talented player, one talented unit. It's waves and waves and waves of talented players and units. So we'll see, but mark down Georgia's 2023 G-Day as yet another development, another step towards a very different college football than what we're used to. A player going through spring and entering the portal on the day of his team's spring scrimmage. Crazy stuff. Some injury news also popped this morning. Smile Mondon and Branson Robinson, the Georgia running back and the Georgia linebacker. Mondon's the linebacker. Robinson is the Georgia running back. Both of them injured, we learned. As they got hurt in Georgia's Thursday scrimmage, they could not make it in the game. Every indication that DawgsHQ's Jake Rowe has is that this won't impact either player as the Dogs get ready for their actual fall camp. So we'll see what happens there. But a bummer that you couldn't see two talented players go out on the field between the hedges and show their stuff. As Mondon, you know what he's capable of. He had a monstrous season, a really huge end to Georgia's 2022 national championship season, led the team in tackles. But Branson Robinson is a running back that I was really excited to see play. He was a freshman last year, will be an emerging sophomore in the Georgia backfield. And with Kendall Milton already back injured, Andrew Paul banged up, he's trying to get back on the field too. Dejon Edwards is a known commodity as well. You didn't want to see him go out there and try to prove too much today. But Branson Robinson had a lot to prove, and it sounded like through Georgia's spring practices that he was proving it. He's a huge kid out of Mississippi. He's really a square of a human, just a granite block running the football. He's a load. And his injury is one that it was a bummer for me, selfishly. I hope that he'll be back and ready to play. I don't think it will be all too serious for Georgia's running back room in 2023, just like Kendall Milton in the hamstring. You imagine that those guys will be back and ready to go. But I was excited to see him come out and run the ball in Mike Bobo's offense here at G-Day. How much would he have done it? I don't know. This was clearly by design a day where Brock Vandegrift and Carson Beck wanted to throw it a lot, needed to throw it a lot to see how they could distinguish themselves, and I'll get to that in a moment. But I did miss the opportunity to see Branson Robinson. All the best to him as he recovers this offseason. Now, the other news before I get to the quarterbacks, as I stand in front of this pallet of ice, which will be used often in the 2023 season for a brand new UGA. You know that the UGAs love to sit on their ice packs, and we got to see UGA 11 get collared as UGA 10 hung up his collars, hung up the leash, and we had a changing of the guard ceremony as UGA 10 made way for UGA 11. UGA 10, of course, boom, back-to-back national champions as a dog. That doesn't happen too often. He didn't get to make it to the national championship game in LA, unfortunately. Too far of a trip for him. But as you can see, there's the doghouse right there. It said UGA 10 in the pregame before G-Day today. It now says UGA 11. My lens does not zoom that far. But a really cool moment as UGA 10 and UGA 11 got to share the doghouse together, which was pretty cool. And UGA 11, a pretty squirrely little pup. He'll figure out how to roam Sanford Stadium, Dooley Field, between the hedges in no time, I believe. But it was cool to see the old salty veteran UGA 10 showing UGA 11 around the doghouse. Last note for you before I pack up, literal pack, see you, Coach, was obviously the quarterback conversation between Carson Beck, Brock Vandegrift. What do you make of it? What do you think was going to happen there? Well, I don't know how much you learn. I don't know how much of a surprise it was that Carson Beck looked to be more confident, smoother out there on the field than Brock Vandegrift did, but that's what he was. He was in command. His throws looked effortless. He was on the money. Had a few miscues. Brock Vandegrift had a pick. But the bottom line is, whoever ends up starting for Georgia under center this year, he's going to have a lot of targets. He's going to have a lot of talented targets. He's going to have Brock Bowers back. He's going to have Arian Smith, who is just incredibly confident now after finally being healthy and having some big moments in the 2022 season. He's confident. He's ready to go again and build upon that. And you have transfers, Ra Thomas, Dominic Lovett, who are now in the receiving corps as well. And Lovett really showed some flashes today of what he can do. Shifty guy, but he can take the top off the defense. He's a game changer. No matter who the offensive coordinator is for the Dogs, Todd Monken, Mike Bobo, welcome back. You got some dudes to work with. And it seems like these hedges will be tough territory for whoever tries to come in and steal a win from the defending back-to-back national champions, who also, by the way, I missed this point, got their championship rings today. And the first play of the game, I'll leave us on this note, which was really neat and powerful to see. They dedicated to the lives of Chandler LaCroix and Devin Willock, who passed away in that tragic car crash right after the national championship game. So a lot to pack in this Georgia G-Day today, but I think you're looking at a Georgia football program that answered questions about what it'll look like on offense, and you're seeing players emerge as leaders in an off season where people were questioning the culture of this team. And once again, just from the players I spoke with, the ones that are here, there's no doubt about what the identity of this team is and what the expectation is. And that's another championship. Even though three-peats are pretty hard, this is a different team. This is a different program right now under Kirby Smart, and they expect to be national champions. Y'all hit like and subscribe on the DawgsHQ YouTube channel. Thanks for tuning in. We'll catch you live on the Georgia Show, 8:30 p.m. Eastern, right here every Sunday and Wednesday night. Peace.